We're ready. I'm hunting rabbits today. I'm gonna be taking sand out of my pants for days. Well, good morning, guys. As you guys know, there's been conflict breaking out all over the world. Kind of seems a little daunting, doesn't it? It's better to be prepared than not. So today, I'm going to build a Japanese individual fighting position. What essentially that is a dugout position that protects you against small arms fire, grenades, some mortars, and it's traditionally built on the top of a hill, and usually incorporates a tree in order to kind of give it a little clandestine look that you can't really spot. It's hard to attack from above because you got that tree in the way, and it offers some sort of a protection and stability for your trench. So that's my plan today, is to try to recreate an individual fighting position that the Japanese would have used during the war. All right, here's my location. It's near the top of a hill. It looks to be an old fence line of sorts. It's got some ruins here. It's got some rock. It looks pretty good because it's high up on the elevation, and from what I can see, it offers some rear protection and some side protection. It's got a lot of features that are required for an individual fighting position because there's nice elevation here. The idea is to trench this little area out here and be able to go actually underneath this tree to return fire in the event that it is necessary. Traditionally, these holes would be dug with this kind of tool here. This is an entrenching tool. This would have been folded up in your backpack or your kit, and you'd get to your site, and then you would pull this guy out, you'd put it together, and that would be your tool of choice to dig this thing. It is a really convenient shovel because it's really tiny. You can get really close to the action and dig it and get small little chunks, and it doesn't really tire you out like a traditional spade shovel. I'm going to be using this tool a little bit in the process, but then I might switch to just a plain spade shovel to you know, you would have used anything you would have had at the ready. You could use a sharpened stick, you could use the metal pipe, you could have used pretty much anything to dig a hole. You could use your bare hands in the event that sort of thing was necessary. It's a great little tool to dig a hole if you don't have anything else. But for this purpose, I'm going to use a regular spade shovel because, well, as much as I like the entrenching tool or the E-tool, it's seen better days. So, all right. So the idea behind making your hole is when you dig it, you don't actually want to disturb the surrounding area too much because you want to be able to hide your location. You can already hear the airplanes coming. Depending on where you live, these types of holes are called a lot of different things. For instance, in the United States, they call these either the fighting position or the ranger grave. That's ominous, isn't it? The Australian Army calls them the gun pit, which is, well, very descriptive. Or in New Zealand, they call it the fighting pit because basically that's what you're doing while you're in the pit, you're fighting. The British and Canadian Army call these either a slit trench or a fire trench. It's fitting. During the American Civil War, these types of pits were called the rifle pit, which, yeah, that fits. During wartime, the quickest way to dig yourself cover was using the entrenching tool, and the idea was to dig straight down to get yourself out of the way of enemy fire. Once your trench was made, you would use a technique called sapping, which would allow you to connect one hole to the other hole. It was much safer to do it that way, but it was also more time consuming. All right, well, I'm into the position now where I'm kind of in the hole a little bit. I've got the tree sort of above me. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I'm digging underneath into the tree, and it's sort of slow going. I'm just kind of chipping away at the wall. You know, it's actually it's easier to do like little scoops than it is to do big ones. Hear airplanes overhead. Jeez, it's very authentic. I imagine that's what you'd be hearing if you were entrenching yourself in the hole. You'd have aircraft above you, sort of thing, looking for your position, and you'd be like digging yourself in as fast as you could. Anyways, it's not bad. If my entrenching tool wasn't so broken, it wouldn't be so bad. I think I'd not lose a lot of my stroke every time. But so I get to the point where I kind of fill my hole up to my knees, and then I bail it out, kind of create myself like a little berm at the front, and that kind of gives me a little bit of coverage. And then what the idea is to get underneath a little bit more and then cover the top with some sort of branches or logs or something like that, so I can just kind of hide under the tree when I'm not scouting, and then when I want to pop up, I can pop up out of underneath the tree, and offers me some sort of cover. But anyways, there's gonna be less talking, more digging, or this thing's never gonna get done today. Oh, rock again. Oh, I'm just gonna carry on digging, and I'll show you again further I get in under this tree. All right, guys, I'm down a significant amount. As you can check, like I can get pretty much tucked under the tree now. Get so much sand down my neck. What I found is actually I found a railway spike. Look at that, that's pretty cool. And I'm using it to kind of chip away at the underside of the hole, and I just kind of pry out little rocks. My entrenching tool is a little wobbly. It works kind of good when you get some clean dirt. You just kind of pick away at it like that, and you get a big rock. You just kind of get the pick or the nail, and you kind of jab it. You pry it out. I also have my axe. When I get a really big root, I just kind of cut it off. And my plan is to stay pretty much underneath the center of the root. I'm going to go a little bit. Actually, I'm going to go straight through, probably out to the back, because my idea is to kind of get crouched in, so I can mostly lay down, have myself directly underneath the tree, and still have the ability to kind of stand up, see outside of my my hole. But I gotta get further in so I can do that. It's coming along okay. I've been digging for about 2 hours now. I've got a fair amount of debris. You guys are kind of sitting on the debris pile. I've got to figure a way to get rid of that stuff. Probably disperse it somewhere over that away in order to kind of still be able to see outside the hole. There's a lot of material. I'm actually getting into some nice stuff, but I don't want to go down that deep. Where did my nail go? Don't want to lose my nail. That's my most important part. This like white sand is actually underneath here, is actually really easy digging. But then there's like the odd clay and rock and stuff like that. But the idea is to sort of keep the root system intact, because that's my roof after all. So that's my plan. Ow. That hurt. The roots are fighting back. All right, I'm gonna keep digging. Oh, I'll show you guys once I get a little further in. But like, that's the sort of stuff: rocks, sand, debris. Oh, there's a big one. It's really satisfying when you get like something like that out. Oh, and then you don't have to dig so much. You just pull the rock out and carry on. Take a look at this. This is actually a sight for sore eyes. This type of sand. Look at this stuff. I don't know what kind of sand this is. It looks like beach sand. It's like All right, so we got down below. We're underneath the tree right now, and as you can see, the camera's fogging up a little bit because it's actually warmer down here than it is outside, which is kind of cool. What I want to show you guys is this stuff here. This is like, I don't know what kind of sand that is, but it's like beach sand. Like, people digging, they're like, they would kill for this stuff. This stuff is really nice stuff. It's almost like a fine, like a parging sand or something like that. It's like so easy to dig. Once you get below the clay, I can haul this thing out a little bit more. I don't need to get, you know, maybe a little bit more area down here would be a little more cozy for any kind of extended stay down here. But digging's super easy at this point. I just gotta like chip away at the edges, and then once it gets down to the bottom, I shovel it to the back, and then I heave it out of the hole. You can see all the roots that are sitting at the top, which is going to help hold everything in place. I'm creating kind of like a dome area up above it in order to kind of stabilize the material. And just hacking the roots off as I go. But I want to create like the high spot right in the middle of the tree, and then kind of have everything dangle beside it. I don't want to take out too many roots because ideally this tree survives, has a nice long life. If anybody's ever tried to take a tree out, it requires a significant amount of effort in order to actually get all the roots to actually have the tree come out. So I'm not really too worried about this tree falling down by just taking out this much. I've only actually taken probably like a 2-foot hole where the entrance is, and to get underneath the tree, I'm pretty confident that this is not going to end up with a tree falling over. Anyways, I'm just going to take a little bit more material out of here, and yeah, I'm ready to almost cover the front of it. I'm going to create a sinkhole at the front in order to kind of any kind of incoming attacks, kind of like a grenade hole per se for the front, and then that's that'll pretty much wrap this hole up. Okay, I've got the hole pretty much dug out. Just got to work on the front of it. The idea is to have kind of like a clear shooting area from one side to the other. I'm about armpit height, but once I actually hollow it down, because this dirt here has to move out of the way, as well as the dirt from here over to here has to all move out in order for me to actually have kind of a 180-degree kind of shooting range. And then the idea is to cover this area here with something solid that you're not gonna, you know, take mortars from above. So the idea behind the tree is that anything that you're going to lob into this location, ideally it bounces off a tree. If you guys ever played horseshoes, everything bounces off that pin. That's my theory anyways. It also offers a pretty stable cave. Like ideally you don't want to make your shelter out of rocks, because that just becomes another projectile. So I'm gonna do all soft things and kind of work my way with that. Just gotta push my dirt out. And the idea is I'm always careful with not actually disturbing the surroundings too much, because what happens is then you can kind of tell, hey, look, there's a pile of dirt over there, disturbed dirt. You kind of want to avoid that situation where you kind of want to make it, you know, hidden once it's all done. So the entrenching tool is designed to get you in the ground fast, and a lot of these kind of bunkers are designed to kind of like be functional bunkers, as in you're in wartime. So you quickly get into the ground, and then you establish your position for cover, and then what you do is you expand it as you see fit. If you know you're not getting shot at, you can always improve your living situation by you know, expanding your hole. So initially what would happen was you would get your trenching tool, you would dig down in the ground and give you some sort of cover, and then you would expand from there. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. Is I've used the entrenching tool. I got myself below grade, so I can easily just kind of duck down duck down if I'm experiencing any enemy fire, or if, for instance, there's a tank coming at me. You could always kind of just lay down and the tank can drive right over top of you. That'd be a terrible situation. But that's really the idea behind an entrenching tool. And then once you've established your position, your defensive fighting position, you would expand it and kind of make it more clandestine and hidden and camouflaged. So that's the plan now, is to kind of make it so you can actually return fire from this location without actually being seen. Making sure that it's only topsoil showing. I was reading a part in the book where they were doing the entrenching, and they were mentioning on you know, you don't want to cut down live stuff to make your bunker. You actually want to use living stuff. So if you got sod, what you would do is you would take the sod and you would pull it apart. You would kind of keep it, because once you made your bunker, that stuff would stay living. You wouldn't actually kill the sod, and it would keep growing. Because the problem with having a defensive position like this, and you cut down live trees and stack them up, they may look alive for a little while, but over time they'll die, and then it just looks like a pile of brown, freshly cut sticks, and that would give away your position. So ideally you want to keep something that is living, like if you have sod. But in this location I happen to have pretty much only dead things, a lot of dead standing stuff, a lot of piles of sticks, and a lot of cedar branches and stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to be doing, is creating sort of something that matches the terrain. It gives me a nice sort of area. So I got a nice little location here to return fire. I can duck down, and I have my step down below, which allows me to get up high in this position here. There, I think that's pretty decent. Nice little area here. Now I gotta make my roof. In order to cover my individual fighting position, I ended up using a lot of material that was found around the site. I used some cedar litter that was coming off the trees. I used some leaves, I used some sticks, I used some sand. I basically took it all and I piled it on top of my logs in order to kind of make it blend into the surroundings. Alright guys, I think I've got it pretty much camouflaged the way I want it with what I have around me. If If you guys can look over my shoulder, I'm just gonna get out of the way a little bit. Will it focus? There we go. Can you guys see where it is? It's like, can you guys point to where it is? From this vantage point, this is kind of where the enemy would come from, because I have a perfectly good shooting range 180 degrees from that. And this is kind of where they would come up from the lowland up to the highland, and I'd be sitting there poking out with my little whatever I have, and yeah, pick them off that way. So I'm going to walk up there, and I'm going to show you exactly where it is. If you can see me, I'm just going to hop in there and yeah, see how camouflaged it actually is. All right, let's go inside. So as you can see, this is the opening to the pit, and you got your ledge where you would rest your elbows on, and then you got your ledge coming down here, and we're into our pit. Turn around, we got our ledge there. You can see it's opening there. Welcome to the inside. As you can see, it's got a fair amount of room. I can get all the way to the back here. I got all my tools kind of tucked away. You can see the ceiling is actually very secure. The stuff, you can see the roots are an integral portion of the actual roof structure, and the tree's roots are going all the way around. So I'm pretty much secure. The sand won't cave in on me. And I've got protection from above. I probably actually have protection in the far side of the pit from rain, I'd imagine, because the rain isn't actually going to go through the tree. So I feel like this is a pretty comfortable spot. Lay down. Lay down. It's nice soft sand. There actually isn't there isn't that much rock down here. If you look at the sand quality down here, it's actually like beach sand, so it's almost like you're on vacation on that tropical island, laying in the sand. It's pretty comfy. It's nice and quiet. All right, so this is how I imagine it would happen. If you got notice of an attack, or if there was, creepy crawlies outside and you needed to kind of, get to your position, you'd probably be sitting over here somewhere, maybe, laying down or whatnot. So you'd actually scurry to the front of your hole. You'd grab your weapon. This happens to be my 5.8 millimeter Eastern White Cedar rifle. As you can see, this guy here is able to take out people at 100 yards at least. And anyways, it'll give you a wicked splinter. So this is my my weapon of choice. Simply because YouTube does not like guns. So this is my weapon. As you can see, it's well crafted. Anyway, so what I would do is so I would get up and I would have my weapon positioned near the front of the hole. So I would be like this. I would be, you're all sitting in your hole. I don't know what they do in modern warfare. Maybe reading a book, doing Sudoku or something, or crossword puzzle. I don't know, maybe they have internet holes nowadays, who knows. So what you would do is you would roll out of your bed, you would grab your rifle, and then you pop out of your hole and you're ready to fight. That to me is probably the way it would go, with a little bit more adrenaline. This is the view from the other side. So as you can see, I've got some pretty good position. So I got my rifle sitting at the ready. Got my axe in case a tree decides to attack. And what I would do is you grab your rifle, and then you stand up on your ledge, and you're ready. And then you can duck back in the hole. That works actually pretty darn good. It's good height. It's good, like armpit height. You're just like got your elbows resting in the sand. It's a perfect spot. See, what I'm noticing right away is when you're in this position, you look behind you, nothing can sneak up behind you because you got a giant tree there. Nothing can lob this away and get past the tree. If there's like a grenade or something like that coming over, you'd have to be like a NFL all-star in order to get that thing over top and then drop straight down. So you effectively removing half of the threat by creating one of these little defensive tunnels. I think this is a great idea. I feel relatively safe and secure in this thing, and I'm protected pretty much the most of me, just except my face. My whole body is pretty much underwater. I've got my head just peeking over the edge, and yeah, this is pretty decent. I think this is a great use of what is around to make what you need. Oh, I guess it would be probably highly unusual to have a light on the battlefield, but in order for me to film, you guys have to see, otherwise it'd just be a pitch black thing. So anyways, I'm in the in my defensive fighting position for the night. I've got all my provisions, my rations, and yeah, so I'm just gonna get settled in, get myself situated, and yeah, get myself comfortable for a what could potentially be a very, very cold night. There is some snow in the forecast, so hopefully that doesn't happen. Although it has rained a little bit today, it hasn't seemed to come through the ceiling, so that's good news. You can see my sleeping area here. I've got my my sleeping bag out, kind of. I can stretch out all the way. I can have my head in that location over here, and pretty much be under cover completely. You see the ceiling, you got your roots protruding through. That's my ceiling. That's kind of holding the blobs from getting me in the head. But they seem to be pretty solid because there is a lot of clay sort of material up there that is definitely holding still. The lower portion of it looks like beach sand, so it's hopefully I don't get too much sand in my underpants, because that would not be fun. It is very sandy, so we're just gonna try to keep my sand out of my sleeping bag. That's gotta be the worst. As long as I don't look directly off to the side, you guys don't get blinded. I just got it shined off to the side now. Otherwise it's completely pitch black in here and you cannot see a single thing. I am, you know, a couple feet underground after all, so yeah, I'm down in here. Gotta make the most of it. Hopefully it doesn't rain overnight. I heard there was gonna be some flurries, so yeah, so flurries are better than rain. Nice cozy little hole. Kind of a sandy, crummy situation, especially with you know, being in a hole. Although I've slept in worse places than this. All right, well, I've got a secondary light so we can actually see everything. Secondary flashlight. So what I'm going to start off with is a little bit of I have a tea because it's actually quite cold in here. So I got. And we're probably wondering, how did you even get hot water? You know, it doesn't have to be exactly to the historical accuracy. This is all, again, you know, just trying to see how it's like. I'm gonna go peppermint tea, not coffee, because it is you know, evening. So I did a little bit of research on sort of what a traditional, you know, British soldier would have during trench warfare during World War I, and a couple things came up. One was bread, tea, and then there was cheese, and I think chocolate was one of them. I'm not sure. I don't exactly remember what I read, but anyways, we're gonna make the I've got my pocket snacks. See, figure you'd have everything that is important to you close to you, on you, and yeah, you just kind of eat when you can. Well, that's pretty good. You see that? The older I get, the more I like tea. Maybe I'm switching from coffee to tea. Maybe I'll just mellow out a little bit. After all, you always got time for tea, don't you? True ration. What else do I got in my pocket? Oh, pocket. My pocket, I'm not even sure they'd have tinfoil. Parchment paper? Wrapped in parchment paper or something like that. I got my cheese. Cheese. I imagine this would be the most delicious cheese ever. During the war, you'd be like, I have a nice cheese snack. Cheese and tea, that's where it's at. I'll just think about all the food I could be having. Hear people with cheese on apple pie? That's interesting. I've never tried. Well, I don't think I've ever eaten apple pie either, so I think I gotta start with apple pie and then put cheese on it. Cheese and peppermint tea. You should try it, it's not bad. What's like for pocket snacks? That's my dessert. My dessert's on the left side. I've got my, that was the appetizer. The cheese was the appetizer, and then I got my main course. My main course is, I do a dual purpose main course. And what I did was I opted for buttered bread. Because, you know, buttered bread's delicious. And, fun fact, I used to take fresh bread and ball it up and eat it just as a whole meal. So I've got like a butter sandwich right here. Because I can't separate it anymore. It's kind of so cold that it's fused together. And this is dual purpose bread because it's got like chocolate infused in the bread. I'm sure it kind of smells like mold. But I think that's the chocolate. Or it's the mold. I don't know. It could be one or the other. I imagine the chocolate. Chocolate kind of smells like mold, doesn't it? I'm gonna have my penicillin anyways. Yeah, it's authentic. It's nice and stale. It's got that hint of chocolate. Kind of like somebody had a great idea. Let's just embed the chocolate into the bread. And then we don't have to ship two things. And if we can get them penicillin at the same time, 3 birds, 1 stone. It's not bad. It's not fresh. I think it starts off as brioche though. Brioche bread with chocolate chips and butter. I should start a restaurant. It's just Kevin's survival tips. Chocolate bread, peppermint tea, cheese. I got dessert still too. That's enough of my bread sandwich. Little cake to raise the spirits. You ever tried one of these little cakes? It's like a caramel. It's a caramel cake. It's like a cake with caramel infused on the inside. It's not the greatest. It's kind of like, can you see that? It's like not really flavorful. It's a little stale. Fun fact, I was trying to actually film laying on my back, and there was like little pieces of sand falling in my eye. So my my solution to that is sleep on my side so that there's no sand landing on my face. There's only like a little bit of sand, but it was sand just because I had my eyes open. Well, that seems to be, you know, just lay on your side, kind of crawl in. It's kind of hard to film while you're laying on your side in a pillowcase. It is actually quite warm, and the sand underneath me is actually quite soft. I don't think this is going to be a problem. Actually, it feels very cozy, very calm. Although I think during wartime it'll be a lot different with you know, explosions and bombs going off and air, you know, assaults overnight and bombings, and maybe get some sleep if you got, you know, deep enough in your trench. Although what I have going for me, with the tree being directly above me, is nothing can get me from directly above. Sure, the tree could fall over and open up a giant hole above me, but directly above me I feel relatively protected due to the fact that there's so much tree above me. Nothing can land directly on me. Unless it's the tree. Well, we won't think about that. Anyways, yeah. I got nothing else to say. I pretty much gotta say goodnight, and yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the morning. I don't know if you guys can see me at all. Oh, my camera's just illuminating me just a little bit. I can, the only thing I can hear in here is my stomach eating my dinner. It's like super crazy quiet, and that's kind of ringing you here in your head when it's too quiet. There's that, and then there's the eating dinner. I don't know if that chocolate bread's sitting very well. Anyways, see you guys in the morning. The sun's just coming up now. It's one heck of a night. It's cold. So cold. Well, it wasn't comfortable, I'll tell you that much. It was pretty cold. At one point I had kind of taken my sleeping bag and kind of tucked it over my head, and provided more warmth. I didn't get much sleep. It was kind of drifting on and off throughout the evening, and yeah, I'm kind of glad that the sun's coming up. I'm chilly. Hopefully you guys got something warm to do today. Hole living isn't for anyone. I don't know, rating probably 1 star, 1 out of 5. This ain't a 5-star hotel. Don't recommend it. Maybe if you just pack the whole thing with sleeping bags, it might make it a nice warm cocoon. I think the thermal mass of having in dirt and no insulation kind of sucks the warmth right out of you, and you kind of freeze. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and join me in the next one. So cold. All right, guys, that's pretty much my example of an individual's fighting position in during the war. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and join me on the next one.